Hello, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you may be on this fine planet. It is a new year. It is a new day. Today we're going to do a little bit of something different because I got cameras, I got lights, and I got some action. There's literally a shower thought what I wanted to do. I don't have a lot of friends, but the ones that I do are really cool. They work in the industry, some don't work in the industry. So I kind of wanted to just like have a conversation with some people and see what's up. So our guest today, he's a true triple threat. He's a stuntman, he's a skateboarder, he's an actor, all while holding a black belt in Taekwondo. He got his start working with none other than one of my favorites, Steven Spielberg. And most recently, he's been dodging danger on set for the hit film Smile 2 from Paramount. He just got off set working with Spike Lee and Denzel Washington for the new High and Low movie, which I think is now titled Highest to Lowest. Don't hold me on that. And other than that, they have nothing to promote. So let's give a warm welcome to Justin Clarke.
What's up?
When I was like, look at your stuff up, I forgot that you worked with Steven Spielberg.
Yeah, it's my first stunt thing.
What did you do on that?
I played like a Union soldier, fighting like Confederates, Lincoln.
So I've known Justin since, I don't know, was I like 3 years old or some shit?
No, you're older than that.
You think?
Yeah, you have to at least be like 5.
Okay, by 2 more years. So yeah, so like I've known you since 5, and yeah, I mean, you were the one that introduced me to horror movies. I would probably say that. Remembering when you like taped Nightmare on Elm Street 3. I think like you ripped it back in the day. You know,
yeah, it was like Nightmare on Elm Street 1, 2, and 3. That's back when you could take like VCR tapes and just re-record them with another VCR.
I remember my dad watching it and making sure that there was no breasts going on in the movie. He's just like, I know that there's boobs in this movie and you're not allowed to watch boobs. I'm just like, okay. And then like, because like we literally watched it. He was fast forwarding through the entire thing. And I was like standing there as he was watching. And I'm just like, well, now I've seen the whole movie. Just in fast forward and no dialogue. But anywho, so what made you get started in the field that you're in? Like exactly, like what is your job description in this field?
Professional stuntman.
What made you get into that?
Pretty much like just me and your brother like always skateboarding back in the day when we were like super young, and it's like what else can you do? It's like I did martial arts, I did skateboarding, so you combine like the fighting with falling all the time, and it's just like you're a stuntman, like so to speak. I never knew how to get into it because it's something you would never hear about growing up from where we grew up. You know, it's just like you get a blue collar job and it is what it is. But I think I went up to Toronto probably like 11, 12 years ago. And a friend of mine called me and said, yo, there's this movie called The Last Airbender filming. Had no idea what it was. And pretty much it was like a TV show called The Avatar. And he was like, you should try out for it. You know, you've done martial arts your whole life. And I was like, yeah, I'll try out, whatever. So I sent in like an audition or whatever, and I got a call back like a day later, and they were like, hey, can you come back to Philadelphia for this audition? It's tomorrow. And I was just like, oh man, like I was like, I didn't want to drive that far. I already drove to Toronto, and I'm like, I have to drive, what is it, 10, 11 hours back? So me and a couple of friends just drove back. I went on the audition, and then I guess like a week or two later, I got a call back, and they were like, hey, we need you to come in and just talked to a couple people. So I talked to, I guess, one of the assistant producers and some other people. And they were like, yeah, like M. Night Shyamalan likes your look. So they kind of told us the whole backstory because I had no clue what it was about. And then I was like, all right, cool. And then like a week later, I was in training for like 2 or 3 weeks, like going over some of the, like the fight stuff. And that was just like being like a background, but we had like special abilities. So we had to learn like different like fight stances and stuff for the movie.
And so Last Airbender, that what year was that? It was like 2000,
early 2000s.
Yeah, something like that. Directed by M. Night Shyamalan, a Philadelphia native from damn self. So yeah. That I feel like M. Night coming up and starting his own studio production company and stuff, like it really gave a lot of work to people in the Philadelphia area, including yourself. Yeah. So after you did The Last Airbender, what was that then something like, oh, like this is awesome, the paycheck's awesome, my body hurts, do I still want to do this? Like what was that process then after you did that
paycheck,
first thing?
I mean, it wasn't that great, but it was better than going to a normal job, because it was just like, you go to set, you're there about like 13 hours a day. So I would go in like 6 o'clock in the morning and wouldn't come back out till like 7 or 8. And it was like nighttime the whole time. And so I guess I met one of the stunt coordinators on the set, there for like 4 months. So I talked to him and I was like, hey man, like I'm interested in getting the stunts. Like, how can I go about it? And he was like, well, just give me your email and, we'll see what happens. I'm like, okay. So I gave him my email and nothing happened for like a year. It was just like, all right, I did the stunt thing, or did the Last Airbender. And then a year later, I got this call, and this guy named Garrett Warren, who was done almost like every Steven Spielberg film and just so many other films. He's like, hey, I'm looking for like African-American stunt guys who could play soldiers. And I'm like, all right, cool. And like, I didn't think nothing of it. And so, it's like, you get like a random text message and like, okay, yeah, sure, buddy. Like, and he's like, send me a photo. And so like, I sent him a photo and, sent him my sizes. And he's like, all right, cool. Like in like 3 or 4 weeks, you're going to fly down to Virginia. Okay. And I heard nothing for like 3 weeks. I was like, all right, well, I guess that was whatever it was. And 3 weeks later, I get this call, and this lady's just like, hey, where are you flying out of? And just give me all your address and everything like that. So I give her my address. I'm like, hey, what's this for? And she goes, oh, it's for Lincoln. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. And she was like, Garrett Warren called you, right? I'm like, yeah, he told me about it. And she goes, okay, yeah. So
he told me about it 3 weeks ago.
Yeah. Like,
I've moved on, lady.
I was like, okay, yeah, sure. So I gave her all my info, and like the days passed by, whatever, and nothing. Then all of a sudden, I see my email, and there's like the plane ticket, like what time I have to be at the airport, just the whole like itinerary. And I'm like, oh, this is crazy. So me and another friend of mine who both worked on The Last Airbender, we're calling each other, and we're just like, hey man, did you get on that movie Lincoln? He's like, yeah. So we're all hyped. We get to the airport, and I'm like, this is still fake. Like nothing's going to happen. Like I'm going to go, and you know what I mean? This is before like TSA and all this. So you could easily walk far into the airport and no one would ever say anything.
But I mean, the world has changed drastically since 2012. So.
I mean, you still could walk into the airport and they didn't like stop you right away. So
yeah, yeah.
So, I got on my flight, and before I know it, I was in Virginia, and it just started right there.
So then I would say, because we grew up down the street from each other essentially. And I would say that we probably grew up both lower middle class, if anything, So getting on a Steven Spielberg set, you got Daniel Day-Lewis there. You got to be honest, I'll be honest with you, I never saw Lincoln. I'm currently on like a John Williams Steven Spielberg kick right now, so maybe I'll throw it in the rotation of actually checking it out. I already know what happens at the end. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So it's a long movie, but you just realize how good of an actor Daniel Day-Lewis is again.
Oh, of course. You have that's getting to my point, is just, you have these stars, these powerhouses. You got Spielberg, you got Daniel Day-Lewis, and then you're there, you're doing your thing. How long were you there for?
About 4 weeks.
4 weeks. 4 weeks. So you met the Spielberg.
Oh man, met him the first day.
Yeah, how was that?
He was wearing like this Indiana Jones hat.
Hell yeah.
Like he had what was it? He had like some weird, like, I almost want to call it like a Clint Eastwood type cape, he would wear in like in The Good, Bad, and the Ugly.
Oh, like is that a poncho?
Yeah, almost like a poncho, yeah.
Okay.
Like that style that they wore back in the day. And he had this little walking stick. And he goes, hey, like, that's how cool of a dude he is. Like, he came up to us and he was like, hi. He's like, I'm Steven. And we're like, we know who you are, but that's cool that you did that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I love when you meet people that do that.
I don't think I was really that starstruck, but at the same time, I was like, man, you made E.T.
So that's what's kind of funny. It's like I've met some of like the biggest pop stars on the planet. I've hung out with them. I've have dinner with Nikki Sixx from Motley Crue. I've done all the things. And it's hilarious. I think there's only one person in this industry that I would get starstruck from, and I think it would be Spielberg. But aside from that, the only people I do oddly get starstruck by are skateboarders. I don't know why. I think it's maybe because literally it was, I'm growing up watching Spielberg movies, but I'm not watching Spielberg, but I'm growing up watching skateboarding movies because you, my brother, and that whole gang would hype yourselves up watching skateboard videos and stuff. So when I saw Steve Barra at like grabbing coffee somewhere, I'm like, oh my God, that's Steve Barra. And I was with like a friend and he was just like, who the hell is a Steve Barra? And it's the same thing when I went to the Deftones show, and it's just like, I'm surrounded by Tom DeLonge from Blink-182. I'm surrounded by, you know, Chino from Deftones, like people that I grew up listening to my entire life. Who do I get starstruck by? Tony Hawk. And I'm just like, what is this? You know? So it's kind of interesting how that works. And I mean, I think I would assume someone in your business, like, you know, you can't, I mean, you're going to be doubling someone or whatnot, and you're going to be working with some of the greatest things. Because I mean, let's rattle off some of the productions that you have worked on. I mean, you have worked on
John Wick 3. Oh my gosh, Blue Bloods, like The Harder They Fall. With something recent, Fallout, The Walking Dead. I've never gotten starstruck around super famous people. Like even growing up, like my brother grew up with Will Smith, so I've met him plenty of times as a young kid. And the first time I met him, I was just like, I remember 5 years old, and I'm in his house, and he's got like every Nintendo game known to man. And I'm just playing his Nintendo. He goes, "Hey, how you doing?" I'm like, "Hey, what's up?" And he's just like, "Oh yeah." He's like, "I never played those games." Like, "Oh, they're amazing." And I'm back to playing Nintendo. And my brother's just like, "That's crazy. Like you've never been starstruck over big famous guys. This is Will Smith, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. So this is not like the movie star yet. It's just getting on TV and everything.
This is Will Smith and DJ Jazzy Jeff.
Yeah,
I say, which is great. So you've been doing stunts and all this stuff. Now, what is like a level of like so you started off doing that stuff, but now like I know like you've showed me. I mean, I guess I could say it now, but like since it's aired now, but like you've showed me like behind the scenes stuff of you working on like the Wu-Tang Clan. TV show and stuff. And now, is there like a difference of like, is there like lower stunt levels, higher stunt, like how before like coming a stunt coordinator or something like that? Like, what is that process?
Stunt coordinator is pretty much like the highest in the stunt community, next to like the second unit director. But he's still a stunt coordinator, but he just moves up to directing, like second unit. I mean, I would feel like that's the highest in the stunt community. You go to that, and then possibly just directing a movie, which you have like the guys who make John Wick, and they're part of a group called 8711. They're known as like the elite stunt group. And most of those guys now are directing or second unit directing. So that's the highest as far as stunts. I mean, everything else, there's, you come into business and you start out, maybe you're just going to do a scene where you're running and you fall, or someone run passes you and shoulder blocks you. It's simple stunts at first, just to make sure you can do them. And then they gradually, other coordinators will go, "Okay, you're known for fighting, so let's see if you can take this punch, or you can take this fake punch, or you can fall, or you can get shot." And then the more people trust you, the more they'll let you do other things.
Because you have stunt doubled for one of my favorite working actors these days, which is Lakeith Stanfield. Now, how does something like that come about? Because like you've done multiple projects with him. So is it just like, oh, we need a stunt double for Lakeith, and then you come in, they bring you in, and then like it's just kind of like they just keep calling you back because they like you? Like how does that work?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's like the first time I stunt doubled him was in New York for this
The Photograph?
The Photograph, yeah. And so Lakeith Stanfield is like a certain body type, like he's 6'1". I think he was like 145, 150 at the time. And there's not that many African-American or just brown stuntmen that size and that weight. And so I kind of got lucky just because of that. I'm just like, "Hey man, like you're his same size. Like it's a simple stunt." Like, okay, cool. So I do that. And then fast forward like a year or two, a couple years later, we do The Harder They Fall. And I guess they couldn't find a guy. They found one other guy, but they were like, "How do you feel about doing falls and off a horse?" And I'm just like, "I'm down for it. Like I ride dirt bike, so I fought off a dirt bike, so whatever." And so the guy was like, "All right, well, I'll give you a chance," because he heard someone else that said, "Yeah, he's a pretty good stunt guy," and that's how I got the pick. And then once I got out there, he told me too. He was like, "Hey man," he goes, "I'm not gonna lie," he's like, "it was between you and one other person." And I was really, he goes, yeah, he goes, there's not too many guys his size.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of him. I think he's
Oh yeah, he's
one of the best.
super talented guy.
So a couple things that you have coming up. You know, I'm looking at your IMDb right now. So you have High and Low, which is the upcoming Spike Lee movie, one of my favorite directors. Which you have another powerhouse of actors in that movie. You got Denzel. You got, I mean, you're working with one of the greatest, Spike Lee. So how many days were you on that? And what does like once again, like you're working with one of the biggest in Hollywood, and then you're rolling up on set, two of the biggest. I mean, you're working with Denzel, who I think is just, I mean, he's top 5 favorite actors of mine in general. So it's just like, working on something like that and working with those people, it's just like, I mean, like you stated it before, but it's just like you got to pinch yourself sometimes.
Oh yeah, definitely, all the time. I always say I feel lucky to be in a situation because, like, you know, when we were younger growing up, we watched every film and we're just like, oh man, like that'd be amazing to do something like that. Even though I've always felt like it was never going to happen, but you know, you just kind of wish like, oh man, like if I can do this, and things gradually happen. You know, like you made your film, so it's just like everything felt one step closer. But even like, let's just say being around like Denzel or anything, I like seeing that. I like seeing his acting, right? But I'm not starstruck by it. Like I said, I just go, man, this dude's amazing.
Yeah,
I get why he gets all the roles he gets.
I mean, how much do you learn from just like watching? It's like how, you know how like actors, like all they do is sit around and watch the directing when they're not in it, or they're being directed by some of the great, especially like some of the, you know, like look at someone like Ben Affleck.
Yeah.
And that's through all the years of just sitting behind the monitor, watching a ton of great directors directing. So how much, like, do you absorb so much? Where do you have in your brain, like, I know that you have your YouTube channel that you're doing and you go out and, you know, adventure the world and stuff like that. So is there stuff that like you want to do in that sense where you're not doing stunts, but you're more so either directing or camera operating or whatever it may be?
I mean, I would love to direct one day, but I kind of want to get a little bit more into the acting side more. Not to say stunts is not acting, but I mean, it's a form of acting. But I guess the talking side of it. But I also, on set, I used to think like, okay, you can watch, like we all know, like we watch a film like, oh, I could have done that. But then you realize, you know, 10 takes into it, you know, the director goes, hey man, like my favorite thing to watch actors do, depending on, it doesn't make a difference at what level they're on, but they all can do it if they're on that show or movie. When the director goes, hey, give me one, whatever way you want. And they go right into that mode instantly. And you just go, wow, I didn't even think about it that way.
Yeah.
And it's guys like Denzel and so many others who can instantly, they can give you the script and these little subtleties where I remember Steven Spielberg said to us, you can watch someone off screen do something, like not watching the monitor, and you go, that was pretty cool. Then you go to the monitor and rewatch again, tell them to do it again, and you'll see something subtle, like a look, just something that just makes the whole scene change. And you just go, that's why we have to have the monitor. That's why a director doesn't look outside of the monitor, because he can see there's something that the actor might have gave him that he didn't give him in the last take. And little things like that, you just pick up one, you just go, okay, I get it now.
Whenever I direct, I'll get what I want. And I mean, being an editor too, it totally helps. But it's like, I'll get what I want. But then if there's time, I'm just like, go at it. I tell the actor, just take for you, have fun. And whatever they do, 9 times out of 10, don't tell anybody. But 9 times out of 10, I'll use their take. But anywho, so you have the high and low coming up. Goosebumps, one of my faves. And then also, just shamefully plug my own movie. You'll be doing, hopefully you're still doing the stunt coordination for my movie.
Yeah, definitely.
So what advice would you have for someone who wants to get started in stunt field? You know what I mean? It's kind of like, it's such a, I feel like it's so tough to say how nowadays.
Yeah, because everyone goes about it. Social media plays a big part nowadays. Like guys will just look. A lot of coordinators will just go online and start looking. because everyone has like, I mean, Instagram is the action reel. TikTok is the action reel pretty much. You see guys all the time, like doing some crazy jump or riding a bike or a car, doing something wild. And it kind of starts there. But if you want to really like kind of push it a little bit faster, just get onto set. Whether you're an extra or a PA, something like getting on set will get you one step closer. I know a lot of guys who were like PAs and they knew no other way to get into stunts and they became a PA and, you know, you're right next to the coordinator. So the coordinator sometimes would be like, I've had guys that just go, oh man, like I really want to get into stunts. And I'm like, oh, the coordinator's right there. You should go talk to him. Not yet, but just wait when he's kind of down, not doing anything. And just, you know, tell him you're interested in stunts and like, how could you go about it? And a lot of those guys are like, hey man, give me your number or give me your email, your information. And if I have something, I'll throw you something.
Networking. Yeah.
Yeah, it's networking. And a lot of times, like, you're on these sets for like 5-6 months. The guy might go, hey, I got something simple today. Like, just ride in this car with this other stunt guy and look scared when he's flying around. It's an easy day. It's an easy pay, you know? Like, it's not too many places you're going to make like almost $1,300 for an 8-hour day.
You mentioned TikTok, like being like, you know, like a stunt thing. Like I mean, I'm not even big into, I never got into skateboarding. I mean, like I tried and then I stopped. I was like, this is not for me. But I still like, I appreciate the hell out of the skate community and stuff. And I mean, that's obvious. That's everything that was surrounded by me when I was a kid with you and my brother and everybody else that was doing it. And yeah, watching TikTok videos or Instagram reels or something of these skateboarders these days, it's just like, what the hell? Like, it's like playing a damn video game. Like, so do you ever feel discouraged by doing what you do? And as we get older, it's just kind of like, oh my God, I'll never be able to do that. But like, do you feel discouraged or like there is a place for everybody in this industry doing what they do?
There's a place for everybody. Just like you said, like, I mean, there's always going to be someone better than you. That's just the way it is. I mean, Father Time waits for nobody, right? But my thing is like, I put in my time and I'm constantly working. So if it's meant for me, it's meant for me. If it's not, it's not. I used to be in that thing where like, I felt like I'm constantly like, oh man, well, this guy's doing this. I got to start doing this. Like, just stay in your lane. It's like you can learn as much as possible and apply it when needed.
Yeah. I mean, I've gotten better through the years and it may be because of age or something like that. Exactly what you're saying, where it's just like that competition mode. Where it's just like, or jealousy, and it's just like, well, why did their, you know, movie get made but not mine? It's like, well, everyone has their own path in life, and that's what it is, you know? So you just got to keep going and not look at it like a competition. Be happy to celebrate other people's successes because then it's only going to, you know, that type of karma will come back to you, hopefully.
I mean, I thought that way forever, where I knew so many people that would come into the stunt business, and I'm like, man, like, you'll get that one gig and you're just going to blow up. And I've watched countless people get that one gig. Like, I remember there was a girl where I just kept saying, like, I was working on a Get Down. And she was just like, yeah. She was like, do you ever think you ever get in part of like a Marvel movie or something? And I'm just like, maybe one day. I was like, but I don't think it's in my cards right now. And her name is Chanel. And I was like, you never know, man. I was like, you might get that gig for a Marvel movie and it's just going to blow your whole world up. And I think like 2 years later, she got called for Black Panther. She was like one of the Dora Milaje girls, the ones with the bald head on Black Panther.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They're like his soldiers or assassins, whatever, guards. And from that, she just kept going. It was like she became kind of like an unknown to like a super known. Everyone wanted to work with her, and now she's doing everything. She worked on so many big budget movies. Like, she's talented as hell and she works hard. So
that's great.
You just like, I was so amazed. And I remember one day we were talking on set, and she was just like, I remember when you told me, like, it just takes one thing to blow you up. And she's like, it literally happened right after that. I was like, yeah, man. And for a while, I was just like, man, am I ever going to blow up? Like, am I ever going to get that gig where I would get on certain TV shows and I'd work, you know, a couple months, but it was always like sporadic. It wouldn't be like the whole time through. And then I kept saying to myself, like, I'm going to get on Walking Dead. It's like one of my favorite shows and comic books. And as it got later into the seasons, I'm like, oh man, like, I don't think it's going to happen because they're filming in Georgia. and we're in Northeast or whatever. And so finally, after a couple of characters left that I was really into, I was just like, I don't even care anymore. Like, I only want to be on there if these characters are on there. If they're not, then whatever. And then I heard about the Rick Grimes movie. So I was like, oh, I'm going to get on this Rick Grimes movie. I'm going to meet Andrew Lincoln, and it's going to be amazing. Like, I'm going to have my first scene with him. And I kept pushing that in my head and like telling myself. And then come to find out, they were saying the next, his movie was going to be based in Philadelphia. I'm like, all right, cool. Chances are they might film in Philadelphia. They might not, like, how the industry is. They can make anywhere look like it needs to be. So then I heard, okay, they're not doing a movie. So I was like, oh, man, I'm never going to work with this dude. I'm never going to get on the show. And right after COVID, I had went to like a COVID party, so to speak. And I was like talking to a guy, and I was like, man, I was just like, I really want to get on this show. And he's like, what show? I was like, The Walking Dead. I was like, I heard they're doing this movie, but now they're going to make it a TV show instead. And he goes, oh, he was like, you're really into it? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, I love that show. He goes, you know a lot about it? I'm like, yeah. He goes, cool, man. He goes, well, guess what? He goes, I got the show. And I was like, you're fucking lying. I'm like, you're lying, right? He's like, no. He goes, I really got the show. And he goes, why? What do you want to do on it? I was like, oh, I want to be a zombie. I'm like, that's the thing to do. And he goes, all right, man. He goes, you cool with being in that makeup? And he's like, it's like 2-hour makeup. I'm like, yeah, I know. And he goes, all right, definitely. I'll call you when it's ready. I'm like, all right. So I'm thinking like, all right, maybe I'll get it. Maybe I won't. So he calls me. I worked the whole show pretty much. But this is before Andrew Lincoln. It's like another spinoff. And I'm like, all right, so now I know for sure they're doing the spinoff with Andrew Lincoln and Denai Guerrero, whatever her name is. So I'm just like, yo, are you doing this show too? He goes, oh, I am. And he's like, you want to do the zombie thing again? I'm like, hell yeah, I want to do it again. Automatically sign me up for the full season. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to carry the whole time. My first day on set, I get in the car. Andrew Lincoln gets in the car, Rick Grimes. And he's like, hey, what's up? He goes, I'm Andrew. I'm like, oh, I'm Justin. He goes, so I hear we have a death scene together. I'm like, yeah, we do. And I was just like, nailed it. And, that was my hype moment, so to speak.
Yeah, that's great. As everyone experiences in this industry, like something that we're gonna take it down a couple notches now and get serious. So, as everyone deals with in this industry is mental health and stuff like that. I don't know if that's something that you battle with or whatnot.
Oh yeah.
I'm acting like I don't know you. But how do you proceed with that in this industry in this day of everything going on? And exactly, it's like you're seeing people, online doing these crazy stunts or whatever it may be, and you may feel discouraged, and that that fucks with like you mentally and stuff. So, like, how do you handle that? What do you do?
You kind of got to go through like the whole gambit. Like, there's times when, and this is for anyone. I feel like anyone in this industry, like, when you're waiting for the call, the more you don't get that call, the more time it passes. You go, did I do something wrong? You start doubting yourself all the time. Like, oh my God, like, I can't even tell you how many times I'm like, did I say something kind of crazy on set that I don't remember? Like,
you're hitting home right now. It's just like, what did I do?
And then, I don't know, you kind of just deal with it. And it sucks because there's a lot of times in life right now where I have a trip coming up, right? Me and my wife. And she's like, oh, are you excited? And I'm like, yeah, I'm cool. I'll be excited once we get on the plane. And she's like, why are you always like that? I'm like, because you just never know. I'm like, there's been times where I've booked a job, and a day before I'm supposed to work, they go, hey, they canceled it. Sorry, I had to let some guys go. And you're just like, damn. And it's happening a lot of times. It's not in your control. Maybe it rained, or they decided to change the days. Now you can't work that day because of whatever reason. Or, production doesn't want to pay for that many guys at a time. They just want 2 instead of 4. So who's the guy going to go with? The guy he's closer to.
I would love for this industry to bring back like the movie contracts, like back in like the 50s and stuff. So it's like you feel like you're guaranteed work, or at least on like, a retainer of sorts.
I mean, they exist.
Yeah.
Supposedly, if they cancel within, I think it's 48 hours, they're technically supposed to pay you still. But a lot of times if you go and try to fight it, then they're like, oh, that guy is hard to work with. don't hire him back.
That's the thing, man. It's
And
just
that's the
like
thing.
we try to be super compliant and all this
Yeah.
stuff just because like we like it's like there's a, you know, like a thing hanging over our head and stuff, and it's just like that's not a way of living, because, you know, unfortunately we are, you know, in this industry, the film industry, the film business has become more of a business than anything nowadays, and everybody wants to get in on it. So it's just like, oh, I mean, well, if they're gonna be a pain in the ass, I'll get this guy. I could probably pay him less, and he's gonna just listen to what I want to say because he's starting out. So it's fucked up. is what it is. What it really is, man. So yeah, that's pretty tough. Is there anything that you do specifically though that helps you get through those moments? Do you meditate? Do you do anything?
I skateboard still. Like I go on hikes. I do photography. Like I don't know. I've never looked at this industry as like the savior for me. I'm always at the next moment of like, what am I doing next?
Yeah.
I just feel like you have to be that way. Like I work a normal 9 to 5 job when I'm not doing stunts, just because I've always had that thing. Like I don't want to be broke again. I'm not like rich, but I ain't broke either. But you know, I'm constantly looking for another way to make money.
Absolutely. I mean, I know what it's like to have negative like $1,000 in a bank account, and I never want to be in that position ever again in my lifetime.
Exactly.
So it's just like I want to keep that money, that paycheck coming in. So I mean, it's tough. It's tough in this industry to constantly do that. I mean, thankfully, like my day job as a YouTube editor has brought me, you know, I'm able to rent a house and stuff, you know, so it's great. But nothing is guaranteed in this life, because then you'll just get dropped on your ass, like how you were saying, and I've been in that situation multiple times. So it's just like, you know, nothing is guaranteed, unfortunately, in this industry. But you kind of like, have you ever felt like, because I've never felt this way. I've never felt in my soul that I need to stop what I'm doing in this industry. I've tried to stop once upon a time. Like I think I gave it like a week or something, and I just didn't feel right. Like I had to go, you know, either write or just film something, whatever it may be. Have you ever felt that way? Have you ever felt like your soul was just like, you should probably stop what you're doing? Or have you felt like, I've never felt that, and you just need to keep going?
No, actually, I did think I was going to stop when I was filming in the Heart of the Fall in New Mexico. This is like right when we were like the first production to go back into filming after COVID. Well, not after COVID, because COVID was still going on. Just the numbers had dropped, and they kind of figured things out a little bit better. And I think it was like my second month being in New Mexico. Like, you know, we're all in the same hotel, but it was like, hey, you guys can't just be hanging out outside and rolling together, because, you know, no one really knew how to stop this COVID thing or whatever. They were like, this is what you got to do. You got to wear a mask all the time. Don't be going out to a lot of places. And you know, New Mexico is the middle of nowhere, pretty much, like Santa Fe. It's like you're there and there's just nature all around. So I would just go like nature, like hikes, and go to like, you know, national parks and stuff. And the one day I was already feeling down because I was there on my birthday, and I was like, man, like, not that I cared that anyone knew about my birthday, but I was just like, all right, well, you know, I'm here. My girl's back home. I'm kind of by myself. I'm still meeting people. And I went to White Sands, New Mexico by myself. So it was like this crazy desert, and it's just white sand everywhere, right? And I'm just thinking like, this is amazing. Like I've never seen anything like this before. And I remember just kind of waiting like, all right, well, I'm going to drive back. And I start walking back to the car, you know, hiking like a mile through the desert. And all of a sudden I see like this glare on the ground. I turn around, and it's just amazing sunset. Like it's just crazy. And right there, I like started crying. And I was just like, I don't want to do this anymore. I was like, I'm over this whole, like, this business. I hate feeling this way. Like, I feel alone, even though I felt like this is like my dream come true. I was like, yeah, if I feel like this when I get back to the hotel, I'm going home. And so it's a 3-hour drive back. I drive all the way back to my hotel, and I still feel the same way. So I call like 2 people, and I was like, hey, man, I was just like, I don't think I could do this anymore. And they're like, what do you mean? I was like, I can't do this movie business. I was like, it's kind of tearing me apart. I miss my family, so to speak. And I was like, I don't like being this person. I don't want to like suck up to anybody. I don't want to just kind of hold my tongue when I feel like something's not right, which I don't anyway. But you know, like there's certain things that you just kind of go, okay, I'm just going to not say really anything about this. And I had a talk for a little bit with a couple of people, and one person was just like, "You're feeling this way right now because the whole world's kind of messed up, so you don't know how you really feel." He's like, "Give it some time, and then see what happens." So I finished the movie, went back home, and for like 4 weeks, cried every day. Like I just didn't know what was wrong with me. I was having like a midlife crisis early in life, and finally one day I just kind of snapped out of it. I don't know what happened. I was just like, and it went away, and I was back into it again.
I think that's just part of being in this industry. Like you're going to have so many ups and downs, and so many times where you just want to tap out and yeah. So yeah, I don't know. It's just for me, I don't know. I just like my soul has yet to be like, stop what you're doing. So I mean, it's good that you kind of snapped out of it though.
Yeah.
Just these entertainment funks, I believe I'll call them. The EFs. So what are you up to now? What are you doing?
Nothing. I'm on vacation right now.
Hell yeah.
I mean, I'm working my like side job, but like other than that, like as far as entertainment, I guess we're done until like mid-January, February. I guess to start back up again.
Is there a lot of stuff going on? Because you got, you're still in Jersey. You never, why did you never like tap out of Jersey? If I'm assuming a lot of work in Pennsylvania. I'm assuming there's a lot of work in Atlanta. I'm assuming there's a lot of work in New York.
In Pennsylvania at all. There's a lot of work in New York. New York has its own industry. It has like the TV industry, right? They have movies too, but TV's always been in New York because of just, it's the Big Apple, There's something about the East Coast that like you can't get anywhere else, like the Northeast. I don't know, like the South, I don't like whatever about the South, but the Northeast, man, like just, I kind of like how people are just real and rude at the same time.
Not totally different.
Like guys would be like, "Oh, you're a stuntman, that's amazing," but I don't care. I got real things to do. Like, yeah, your TV.
That's a cute little job you got there.
Yeah.
That's the grit. I think as I get older, the grit of being from the East Coast is showing a bit more. It's very tough. Like I like getting, sometimes it gets me in trouble of just being blunt and just being like, "Hey, listen, this is what's gonna happen," and blah blah blah. Meanwhile, a lot of other people out here, they'll shimmy their way around to make them not look like the bad guy, but really it's just like when they don't reply or no email back or no phone call back or no show or anything. It's just like, well, what the hell, But these people, a lot of people out here, that's what they do.
Yeah, I mean, you need someone to kind of like check you every once in a while, and I think that's the most perfect thing. There's not a lot of yes men here.
Oh God, no.
Like guys will tell you straight up, like, "Oh, you're a dick. I don't gotta take this. Like, I don't gotta take none of this."
Yeah.
And I think I've always enjoyed that. Like, it's like you can get a compliment and be disrespected at the same time.
I love that.
Like, did you just say you're amazing and an asshole? Like,
you're an amazing asshole. Oh.
I never wanted to move anywhere else. Like, if I was going to move, it would be out of the country. It wouldn't be on the other side of the coast.
I contemplate many times of like, do I just go back? What do I do?
I think it's different for you though.
What? How?
Because I've always felt like you had, like, LA is where you're going to do it. I never once, like, when I started in this industry, I never was like, "Oh man, California, here I come." It was never that. I've always said to myself, like, I'm going to be an East Coast guy forever.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to make it happen here, and that's it. I don't want sunshine every day. I mean, you guys might not get every day now, but
no, it's been so weird. Every morning, like the past like few weeks, it's like Silent Hill, like the way it looks. It's insanely foggy. I went to the gym this morning and it was insanely foggy. I was like, what the hell is going on here? But yeah, the winter's here. It's insane. Like I've been wearing like jackets and shit like the past. I went to the movies last night and it was 48 degrees in Santa Monica. I was like, And I mean, obviously 48
That's
degrees, it's nothing. Like that's actually a beautiful day in Jersey.
Like, and lower.
But out here, like 48 degrees, like my blood has thinned. I'm out there like I got a scarf on and shit.
Yeah, I don't know. There's something about when you look out in the morning on the East Coast and it's like, it's great for 2 weeks straight. It's so depressing outside, but whatever. I'm just going to do it.
Well, I remember the last year that I spent, 2013 was the last year that I lived in Jersey. And I recall it raining more than it did in Jersey than it did in Seattle that year. It was just rained every single day. It was just so it was miserable. If I stayed there one more year, I would have just offed myself. It would have been bad. So I had to get out and come this way. But, you know, yeah, I don't know. There's times where I feel like maybe I should have just stayed in Jersey, you know, because like the messed up thing is like I made a movie in Jersey. I've lived out here for 10, 11 years now. And I mean, it's not even my movie, but, you know, I made half of a movie. And what am I doing? I'm going back to Jersey next year to make a movie. So it's just like, the heck.
But at the same time, I felt like you gained a whole new skill living out there that you would have gained.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, the opportunities and the people I've met and all that stuff, I would never have done that if I was living in Jersey. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like there's a time limit on everything. I feel though that I am only getting better as I get older. Yeah, aging like fine wine, dare they say? Mentally. But yeah, I remember being out here. It's just like I moved out here with $900 in my bank account with no clue what the hell I was doing, and you know I made it work.
Dude, I was scared for you. Like once you got past like the second or third year, I was like, wow, he's doing it, man. Like,
but dude, it's you know exactly what you're saying. It's just like, you know, there's those times where it's like those were the times where I had negative so much money in my bank account, negative, not positive, and you know I didn't even have a bed to sleep on. Nothing told me to quit though, or I wanted to quit, and I would just go back to Jersey for like a week and then come back with a clearer head. But yeah, I mean, it's those things where it just keep going because you never know exactly what's going to happen. You know, you just got to keep pushing. A lot of perseverance that's needed in this industry. That's for damn sure.
Here's a question for you, right? So with the whole entertainment industry, like in SAG and all that stuff like that, did you feel weird shifting onto the YouTube universe?
No. You know what's so funny? It's like, so I started editing. I mean, I know you know this, but for whoever's new here, I started editing. When I moved out here, I wanted to make another movie. That wasn't happening. I had to keep a roof over my head. So I just like continued editing and all this stuff. I was doing narrative features. I was doing anything. Porn. I was doing it all. So you got to do what you got to do to keep a roof over your head. And then then I toured with the bands and all that stuff. And then was after touring with the bands in 2017, 16, 17, I was like, you know, I want a steady paycheck. And I literally applied everywhere and accidentally fell into editing for YouTubers. And editing for the first YouTuber I ever edited for was Phil DeFranco. And then it's been a thing ever since. Yeah. And it's weird because I feel accepted in the YouTube community as opposed the film industry. And this once again, just what you already said earlier, a competition thing and stuff. Out here, there's so many people just competing against everybody. I swear, unless it's the older people that like they're making their movies, they're doing their thing, they're super supportive of the other people. But people that are like wanting to make another movie or make a movie or whatnot, they are. It just feels like it's just like in one ear and out the other. Like they don't give a shit what you're doing. It's something I never in my life would have thought that I would get into, that I would even do. But you know, I think because I come from like a cinematic film background type of thing, that I try to bring that into the way that I work on YouTube channels, which then gives it a different feel. So how do you even
approach like going to these creators? Because like you've worked with some top people.
It literally is word of mouth. You know, I mean, this can kind of go for anybody that's listening. It's just word of mouth, and word of mouth is like the best thing. Do a great job, and I mean, it's the same thing like in your situation. Like you do a great job, and then it's just word of mouth, and it's just like, oh, this guy will be good for this guy. Oh, this guy will be good for Lakeith Stanfield. It's just, you know, it's just constantly putting that work out there and just seeing what happens. I mean, yeah, after working on Phil DeFranco for a few years, and then the pandemic happened. He let everybody go, and then his management company was looking for an editor for other YouTubers, and it just happened like that. You know, I mean, I wouldn't call it luck or anything like that. It's like I put in, you know, at that point, I think 7 years of constant working. And now going on like 11 years, I still don't think I'm at where I want to be at, because it's not what I'm passionate about. I'm passionate about making movies. So, you know, but I mean, I've been very thankful for everything that has come my way. But I mean, yeah, I think that goes for anybody. It's just like, if you want to be a part of this industry, like, you gotta bust your ass. You're not going to start at the top. You know, even the greats have started way low. Paul Thomas Anderson was a PA on movies. Tarantino was in like aerobics videos or some shit like that. You know what I mean? Like, you start at the bottom to get where you got to go. So
that's what it is.
But I think that's it for today. Is there anything else that you want to say, or you want to? What's your?
That's really it, right?
I guess so. What's your YouTube channel? What's your IG? Where can people find you?
IG is JC in the Moment, and the YouTube channel is same thing, JC in the Moment.
Have you posted anything on your YouTube channel yet?
Yeah, I got some like I have like an intro video and like some other like reels.
Well, hopefully in 2025 you're pumping out those videos.
I'm gonna post more. I just been kind of like feeling it out, this whole YouTube.
Have a happy new year. I mean, I'm just acting like, I mean, I'll chat with you afterwards, but have a happy new year. And everyone go give Justin a follow and reach out, or whatever it is that you want to do.